The Rot Knight is a really fun subclass for the Dragonknight modded class, so let's go over it. We're going to go level by level with a combat tutorial and all the items you could need. So we're going to start with the Dragonknight, obviously. Now, this will give you your proficiencies with a bunch of cool stuff. We get spears, pikes, halberds, glaives, light armor, and shields. We also get some spells at this point, so let's take Acid Splash, kind of ties into the Rot and Poison, and we'll take Firebolt. And we get 2 spells at this point, so we're going to take Armor of Agathis for defensive capabilities, and we're going to take Shield for more defensive capabilities. Armor of Agathis will give you temporary hit points, and any enemy that damages you will take that damage. And Shield is a reactionary spell, meaning when you take damage, you can use this to negate it. If you're Draconic Heritage, pick whatever you feel like, it has no gameplay consequences. And we're going to go with the Rot Knight. This will give you high tolerance, so you have advantage on saving throws against poison. We get Poison Spray as a cantrip, and we get Ray of Sickness as a level 1 Necromancy spell. For your ability scores, we're going to take 8 Strength, 16 Dexterity as we're going to be using Dex-based weapons, 14 Constitution, 10 Intelligence, 10 Wisdom, and 16 Charisma, as this is our spellcasting modifier. For your proficiencies, take whatever you feel like. Dragonknight level 2 brings you your next spell and a passive. So for our spells, we're going to take probably Ensnaring Strike. I think this is a really good spell to put on a Dex-based character. And for Draconic Talent, we are going to take Dragon's Sight. So you can see normally in darkness, both magical and non-magical, up to 24 meters. Dragonknight level 3 gives you your Chromatic Infusion. This time we get to add a +1 bonus to our attack rolls, and we get to deal an additional 1 to 4 poison damage until long rest. We get one more spell, and for this one, I think Inflict Wounds is the best option. And we get a fighting style, and because we're dual wielding, we're going to take 2 weapon fighting. When you make an attack with your offhand weapon, you can add your ability modifier to the damage of the attack. Dragonknight level 4 gives you your first feat. Before that we get one more spell, and for this one we'll take Chromatic Orb. Now for your feat, we're going to take the ability score improvement and dump our dex from 16 to 18. Dragonknight level 5 brings you an extra attack. This only works for actual attacks, it will not work if you use a spell. And we get protection from poison as an innate spell. Now we get one more spell we can pick, and I like picking Spiritual Weapon. Let's use that bonus action to get another summon on the battlefield. A Dragonknight level 6 gives you your Chromatic Resistance. This means we're now resistant to poison damage, which is a really good ability to have. We get one more spell at this point, so let's take Scorching Ray. And this gets us to level 7. We get one more cantrip now, so let's take Sacred Flame. And we get one more spell from this point, and honestly there's quite a few decent options. You could take Cure Wounds if you want some healing ability. You could do Flame Blade if you don't want to use the weapons I'm using. I quite like using Hellish Rebuke though, as a reactionary damage dealing spell. Dragonknight level 8 gives you your next feat. We get one more spell before that, so in this case let's go with Ice Knife. And ability score improvement for our feat, we're going to take this, Dex maxed out at 20. Dragonknight level 9 will give you Stinking Cloud. Nice concentration based spell, you throw it up. Anyone within the Stinking Cloud is unable to take any actions. Awesome way of just negating entire enemy turns. We get one more spell at this point, so we're going to take Glyph of Warding, my favourite spell you can get in this modded class anyway. Awesome ability, you place it down, someone walks into it, and it triggers with the effect you've selected. However, how I like playing it is placing it on top of a bunch of enemies, and then at the end of your turn, because it recognises the enemies are within it, it will explode and do the same thing, and you can usually target more people. Dragonknight level 10 gives you your next feat. Before that we get one more spell, so let's take Lightning Bolt. And then for your ability score improvement, we're going to take Charisma up to 18. Dragonknight level 12 gives you another spell. At this point I would personally take like Flaming Sphere or something. And Dragonknight level 12, our final level, gives us another feat. Now you could pick Charisma up to 20 and take that. I personally am going to come down here and take Savage Attacker, meaning that when we make melee weapon attacks, we roll our damage dice twice and use the highest result. Because we're going to be doing more melee based attacks than we will spells, our spells are mainly going to be there for just like throwing out like Scorching Rays or Stinking Cloud. This will allow us to maximise our damage potential. So let's go over our items for this build, and we're going to start with the Mask of Soul Perception. This gives you Detect Thoughts as a spell, but we also get a +2 bonus to attack rolls, initiative and perception. Being dex based, this is incredible. We're going to take the Flesh Melter Cloak. Basically, when we take melee damage, the attacker will take 1 to 4 acid damage. It ties very nicely with this whole rot theme. We're going to take the Blackguard Greaves, gives you Long Strider and Athletics +1. We're going to take the Armour of Agility. Reason we're taking this is the solid armour class of 17, and we get to add our full dexterity modifier to it, meaning we throw a +5 on there because we're maxed out, bringing our AC to 22 in total from this. It also means we get +2 to our saving throws. For the gloves, we're going to take the Legacy of Masters, +2 bonus attack and damage rolls with weapons, and a strength saving throw +1. We're going to take the Shifting Corpus Ring for invisibility and blur, amazing for a frontliner. Pairing this with the Caustic Band, we do an extra 2 acid damage with our attacks. Again, acid rot ties very nicely. We're going to take the Moondrop Pendant, so whenever we have 50% hit points or less, we don't provoke opportunity attacks. This is really good if you are on low health, of being able to still get in, attack, or run around the battlefield, not really worrying about taking more damage. Now for weapons, in my main hand, I like using Kerwin's Cauterizer. Gives you fire damage, so ties in nicely with some of the spells we picked thematically. It also means that if they hit an enemy and they succeed if they don't succeed a Constitution saving throw, they'll also start burning too. In our offhand, we're going to use Bloodthirst. I really love this dagger. If you put it in your offhand, you get True Strike Riposte. So when a creature misses us with a melee attack, we can retaliate and gain True Strike. We also gain a +1 to our armor class, and overall, improved critical reduces that number down to an 18, to a 19. And we pair that with the Dead Shot. This also reduces the need for a critical, so it's now only an 18. We also get to add double our proficiency bonus when rolling ranged attacks with this weapon. Overall, solid build for the Rot Knight. So that is the build, let's go check it out. Okay, so we just left camp, a few things to do. Number 1, we're going to chromatically infuse our weapon. This will add extra damage to it. We also get +1 to our attacks. And then the other thing we're going to do is we're going to cast our Armour of Agathis. We'll do it at level 2, gives you 10 temporary hit points, and they'll take 10 damage for hitting us. Okay, so you can see we're in the combat, so we're going to skip our turn and jump right into our Rot Knight. Now, we're going to do some very basic attacks first, so I can show you this off. So we'll be able to come in here, do our main hand, and then an offhand. And because we have extra attack, we get 2 main hand attacks for dealing damage. Just like that. You're seeing we're doing a bunch of acid, we're doing normal, we're doing fire damage, all sorts of incredible things. So you see, big AC, so they instantly missed their first attack, and the second one that gets through, they took 14 damage, only causing 9. But of course, we're still a spellcaster at heart. So we're going to start by doing our spiritual weapon, and let's get that on the battlefield. And you can sort of place this anywhere, so we could place it up here. Just like that, and you'll see we now have another summon on the battlefield. And that still gives us the ability to attack or do a spell. So I'm going to do Glyph of Warding because I love this one. And we'll do Acid, because why not? We're going to place it here. And like I said, usually the enemy will walk into it and then it will trigger. But we can use it like a bomb. Now we are going to get friendly fire. And I knew that was going to happen, obviously. But you can see how much damage we did. Just a huge amount on everyone. So just bear that in mind, you can use it with a really good option to just place it and let it do its insane amount of damage. And you see, every time they hit us, even though we're not dodging the attacks, we are causing damage to them. And of course, because we have bow capabilities, we can also focus on being an archer if need be. So for example, we could focus on the enemy hiding in the corner, and you see our ring still benefits us causing acid damage. And because we get extra attack, it works with our bow as well. And these are interchangeable. You could have done a melee attack and then your bow and vice versa. You see we're dodging the nice ranged attacks there. And there you go, we have our spiritual weapon who's ready to start dealing some damage. So you can send it to hunt down enemies, whether up high or low, because it can fly, to do stuff like that, just chip away at enemies. And now what's really good is the fact that because we are a spellcaster and archer and melee all in one, we could pick a 3rd level Scorching Ray, for example. We'll target the enemy here. And there you go, we absolutely decimated them. But it still means we have our bonus action, so we could do our Aura Chromatic Fury Poison. So you have your capabilities of dealing damage, as well as buffing yourself, or getting a summon, or all that fun stuff. Or you can just go full-blown damage dealer and do 3 attacks in 1 round. So let's bring ourselves ready in here, so we benefit from our Chromatic Aura. Or Chromatic Fury, I should say. And again, another big miss. 2 big misses in a row. And your aura will help move the AI out of you because they don't want to stand in there and take free damage. Like I said, you can send the spiritual weapon to chase down enemies and really kind of aggro with them in a way to just pump out some extra damage when you need a distraction. But the bread and butter of this is stack up all your extra damage and just start swinging for the fences. Get that main attack and then that offhand. Get the other main attack. See, we've got a solid critical then thanks to our reduced critical numbers. Enemy is burning. They're within our Chromatic Fury. So you see they took the fire damage and they'll continue to run away. Big miss again. And you can just negate them so well. Much like just sending up your spiritual weapon if it will reach. Sometimes they don't because their movement is limited. But you can still use it to hunt down the enemies. But as I said, we can run in here. We use our main actions. Just like that. And because we get extra attack, we can now switch up, get to our bow. We could even, if we had our bonus action, make it an ensnaring strike. But you can mix and match and get the full potential damage you need. And that is the gist of the build. Dex based, not really roguish, but we deal a lot of damage. We can put a lot of debuffs on, whether it's burning, whether it's acid for hitting us in melee, all sorts of fun stuff like that. We have spell casting capabilities, but at our heart, we just deal so much good dex based damage. So I really hope you've enjoyed the Rot Knight. It's probably my favourite of the Dragon Knights to play as, and I hope you enjoy a special dex version of it. So if you have, please drop the episode a like, it helps me amazingly. If you haven't already, please let me in the comments what you'd do differently about this build, what you'd add, take away, other items, spells, all that fun stuff. Please consider subscribing to the channel. I've got more guides for Baldur's Gate 3, I've got guides for Path of Exile 2, Dragon Age the Veilguard, I've got Let's Plays for all of them, and I'm streaming God of War Ragnarok currently, so come and check that out. Regardless, I sincerely do hope you've enjoyed, and if you have, hopefully, I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.